Yes, we have Rayven Acosta Webb, and she is running for KCCD Student Trustee. Hello, Rayven. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to still be working. I'm glad to still be able to go to school. I know that these are luxuries that not a lot of people have, so I'm definitely feeling grateful right now.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started and dive right into it. Rayven, why do our listeners deserve your vote?
Truthfully, I believe that people truly should vote for the candidate that they feel is best for the job. So if they don't feel that that's me, I don't think that I do deserve their vote. But I'll explain why I want their vote, if that's okay. I want their vote because I've been an on campus student. I did graduate in 2018. I minored in engineering and I majored in ASL. So I got my associates in that. And a lot of times people would probably want to figure out, why am I back? Why exactly would they want to put their faith in someone who got their degree and then felt the need to return? Well, things change, people change, your goals change, and I think that that's completely normal. The other thing is that basically ever since then, because going back to school wasn't the easiest route for me, I had to work full time. I had to put what I did have to good use. And so, with that being said, now I'm an online student, and I feel like it's important for people who are on campus, who are athletes, cheerleaders, DSPS students, online, distance learners. I mean, the whole nine yards. I think that it's important that they have someone that can represent them. I feel like I fit a lot of these categories. I'm also a DSPS student. I'm deaf in my right ear, as well as the fact that I have ADHD. And I could have let that stop me when I first went to college and I started experiencing hardship, but I didn't. I utilized my resources. I utilized the tools that were available to me. And I feel like if I can do it, then anybody else can. The whole reason as to why I want people's votes is because I want them to know that I'm no different than they are. And if they think that they can do it as well, then they should do it as well too.
Our second question is, what is a problem that you have seen on campus that you want to fix?
So again, for the last 2 semesters, I have not been on campus. What I did notice, like when I was on campus, though, there was not a lot of like accessibility for students who require like wheelchairs, things like that. There are also things that I would want to change as far as like, because like I think sometimes when people say, what do you want to change that's on campus, it doesn't have to just be the physical campus. There are things on campus that I would like to see as far as like getting things in order with priority registration. The thing is even though I'm not actively on campus for the last 2 years, I've had a lot of communication. I'm pretty sure a couple of the SGA people have actually seen me on campus. I still have to do things. I still have to go get books. I still have to speak with my professors. And so, of course, you recognize certain things. And I feel like there wasn't exactly a level of organization with certain things. I do appreciate with everything with COVID-19. Again, Bakersfield College has done a great job as far as transitioning us from being on campus to online. However, there was a lot of issues as far as priority registration. And this was an issue that was for the COVID-19. I had a lot of students who were athletes or just, they're returning students, but because they don't have a priority registration, they're still only, registering 2 days before public registration, and at that point all the classes are gone. So I think that there needs to be something researched there. I understand that we don't have as much staff as we probably do people that are wanting to go to college. However, there still has to be a resolution there. I mean, if it comes down to a point where we have to just turn and say, no, you're not going to be able to get in this semester, then, we need to look that in the face and take a good, hard examination on what exactly we need to do with that.
Third question, will you be able to commit fully to your position?
Absolutely. Because I have made some adjustments, I will be honest, my work can be very demanding. I will say that they have allowed me in all this time to take some focus for school. So that's never been an issue. And I did actually speak with my supervisor as well and his boss about, this is something that I really wanted to do. This is something that I really wanted to pursue. And they've actually told me that there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to be present every step of the way. I have no roadblocks, well, other than being at home.
Our fourth question, Rayven, what are some ideas you have to facilitate better communications with your constituents?
So some ideas that I know that like we have the Renegade app. We've had that since I first started. at BC, which was back in 2015, 2016. I'd really like to see that improved and enhanced. I know that over time it's been improved, but I feel like it's never really reached its maximum capacity. That's a really, really great resource that I don't think people understand its capabilities, in the sense of right now, especially right now, being at home, our way of communication is via text, via social media, via emails, however, phone calls. And I think that there should be a way, if you've got any concerns or if you want to provide feedback to something, that you can you should be able to just do it from a touch of a button. We make reviews on Yelp for places that we eat at. We make reviews everywhere, Google will actually advertise and ask people to, just put on their page, how did you feel about this place when you went, and so on and so forth. And I feel like we should have a forum like that, because I feel like there are a lot of voices that are not being heard, and they need an easier way. I know that BCSGA is constantly stating, we have these available times, we have these open things, come. But for some reason, that's not reaching. So we need to figure out what is going to reach those people. And I think we need to start from the basics and work our way up.
How will you represent your constituents as if you were elected?
So I actually have represented before as student trustee. Again, that was back in the election term 2017-2018. I will be honest, towards the end of 2018, I did not finish the way that I had hoped. The reason why I say that is because I always explain, when you're a student trustee, the first half of that fiscal year, you're pretty much learning how to do your job. It's more about what you can't do versus what you can do. So it's a very, very in-depth type of look, because again, you're seated at the district's board, but you of course have limitations, which that's a whole nother battle within itself. On the other hand, however, I feel like I didn't have the opportunity. Once you get the hang of it, that second half is where you really want to get the ball rolling. I feel like I didn't really get to pursue that. Unfortunately, my father became very ill that year. I quit my job. I almost quit school, but I focused really in on it, and I was able to graduate, but I feel like I didn't give my 100%, if I'm being honest, about when I was trustee for those last remaining months. So I feel like if I'm going to represent this year, the problem is you're always thinking about, this is what I want to do and this is the initiative, but it really does matter what people want. You literally can't be a representative without a group of people to represent. So with that being said, my goal is so that I can do my job appropriately, giving it my full 100% attention. I don't, again, have those roadblocks, those barriers, anything like that. I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be focusing on speaking with my constituents about, we need to actively open this portal of communication some way, somehow, because truth of the matter is whether or not it gets done in my time, it needs to be ready for the next person so that they don't have to continue to build a bridge. They can just walk people over it.
Do you feel comfortable publicly speaking and presenting?
I feel like there's always room for improvement, 100%. I have, like I said, I've spoken with as like a BCSGA representative. Again, being a student trustee is kind of tricky. You always have the opportunity to say what you need to say, but sometimes it was just, a matter of like, do I really want to say what I want to say? And of course, that's within, reason. It's not like a matter of how dare you or anything like that. But it's a different atmosphere, if that makes sense. You're basically in the middle. You represent the community. So it's not just BC that you're representing. You're representing Porterville, Saracoso, and you're representing Bakersfield community. So I think that's a lot of what people don't recognize. And so speaking publicly, I think I'm better off than I was the last time around. Again, it was just kind of navigating, getting a feel for everything, but I've been there, I've done that, and you can teach this dog some new tricks.
What is the most difficult decision you've ever had to make during your last leadership position? How did you arrive at your decision? What was the result?
I think this kind of translates back to what I was talking about the last fiscal year that I had worked for BCSGA and KCCD. Basically, the hardest decision that I had to make, it was kind of a split decision. It was, do I continue moving forward or do I just kind of drop out? And essentially, I feel like because I couldn't decide, I did a little bit of both. I still went to meetings. Again, this is in reference to my dad being ill. And so I just And I'll explain, he actually died from cancer. It was a very, very slow, ugly, dreadful process. And so basically, I told myself that I was going to finish what I started, but at some point, my 100% was no longer in it. My stress, my concentration, my focus was somewhere else. And I feel like that's completely natural and human, but at the same time, I made an obligation to, my community. And while I did the bare minimum, the basics, I should have pushed myself to do more. So I definitely think that was the hardest decision that I had to make, because I didn't really make a decision. And so that's ultimately what the result ended up being. And it's something that's dissatisfied me so much that practically 2 years later, here I am again asking BC to give me another chance.
Last and final, is there anything else you would like to communicate to our listeners?
If you are listening, I first want to congratulate you. Thank you for being a part of this. Can't tell you how many people that are just like you that will ignore this. They don't focus. They don't realize that they're capable of making change. And so thank you and congratulations for doing that. And I would also ask the listeners to just spread the word. Right now, especially with everything that's going on with COVID-19, right now is the time for us to really hone in on that change. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to. I mean, right now we've probably either got more time than we could possibly ever have, or we're being pressured more than we normally would like to be. And so, they say pressure makes diamonds. Let's be diamonds. I mean, we are BC. And I use quotes on that because I believe that, but I feel like there's a lot of students out there that don't recognize that the we in we are BC really has to be we. So if you're listening, just spread the word, pass it forward. Try and get your peers motivated